The Sisters Grimm podcast is intended for mature audiences only. Please listen at your own discretion. Tiptoe through the window.
The blackest eyes, the devil's eyes.
If it doesn't fit, you must acquit.
The most notorious serial killer in the nation.
The Light Stalker.
The Boston Strangler.
The Son of Sam.
The infamous Zodiac Killer.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Get away from her, you bitch!
Welcome to the Sisters Grimm podcast.
How'd you do this? Show you.
Welcome, everybody, to the Sisters Grimm podcast. I am Holly Freeberg, and with me is Morgan Freeberg.
Oh, I was going to say my own name.
Tough. You were going to be like, say my name, say my name. Okay. So, I would like to point out that we failed to acknowledge that we had our 2-year anniversary for the podcast.
I mean, no one else cares, so why should we?
And that's like when really stressed out people forget their birthdays.
Can't relate. I'm way too self-centered.
Aw, cute.
Aww.
So we are continuing across these great states of ours, full of killers. And
full of
we
murder
are
in America.
On New Jersey.
We're on New Jersey, the Garden State.
And unfortunately, our dog isn't here.
A dog isn't here. Why does that?
I really miss our dog. I really miss my dog.
I miss our dogs.
I miss my mom.
New Jersey's cool because, like, we have the Jersey Shore, which, like, let's be real, I was obsessed with that fucking show.
Yeah, and I'm sure that that's something that New Jersey loves to be known for.
Well, they are.
That's very sad for them.
Or they could be known for murder.
It's also, or they could be known for murder.
Even though I will say, like, because when I do the state killers, the way that I find them is I just pick a random letter on Murderpedia, and then it'll say, like, all the different places that things happened. New Jersey wasn't as, like, in there as some of the other ones, Illinois.
Yeah, well, I mean,
and Missouri.
New Jersey is, like, kind of little.
Yeah, it's kind of
really
small.
cute. It's, like, kind of like, it's like if Illinois had, like, a triangle taken out of it.
Totally.
It's, like, weird, and it's, like, on the water, and it's cool, and we love our New Jerseyan. I'm thinking...
Listeners, it's basically like what couldn't fit in New York. They're like, let's shove it over here. Yeah. This is good, right?
Hey, guys.
And it wasn't. Just kidding.
Yeah, no, a lot of people shit on New Jersey, and that's not what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be shitting on on the killers from New Jersey.
Yeah, most of mine were not serial killers. Actually, all of mine were not serial killers.
Only one of mine was a serial killer, cool. And it's who I'm going to start with.
Yeah.
And some of you may have heard of him before. His name is Charles Edmund Cullen. And Edmund Cullen, I kept calling him Edward Cullen.
Well, we're still recording on top of the third Twilight book, Eclipse.
Yeah, no, this is our new podcast setup now. This is our studio.
I don't mind it.
Your bed, a box, an old shoebox.
From Target.
And the book Eclipse.
Work.
So, he was born in 1960 and went to college at the Mountainside Hospital School of Nursing in Montclair, New Jersey. He graduated in 1987 and started working at St. Barnabas Medical Center in Livingston. On June 11th, 1988, he administered a lethal dose of medication to a patient, killing them. And he killed several more at St. Barnabas, usually by overdosing them with medication that he would put into their IV bags or just straight up, give them a shot with a syringe.
Damn.
Yeah. In January of 1992, hospital authorities began investigating the string of mysterious deaths and found that the IV bags had been tampered with, and it was determined that Cullen was the culprit for dozens of deaths at the hospital. But Cullen just left the hospital and took a job at another hospital, Warren Hospital, which is in Phillipsburg, New Jersey, where he killed 3 elderly women by giving them overdoses of heart medication. And his last victim at
dick.
Yeah, at the Warren Hospital told her family that Cullen was a sneaky nurse and had been injecting her at night when she was sleeping, but they dismissed her because she
Wow.
was old. And, like, they were like, no, Nana, you're fine.
Which, like, I get.
Yeah, and she ended up dying.
Ugh, poor lady.
Yeah. In 1993, a 91-year-old cancer patient reported that Cullen, who was not even her assigned nurse, had come into her room and injected her with a needle, and she died the next day.
Wow.
And her son said that his mother's death did not happen naturally because she wasn't, like, what word am I thinking of? She wasn't,
ailing?
What word am I fucking thinking of? She wasn't, like, going to die, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Well, I can't, honestly, the word is, I'm gonna say it later, so.
Okay.
Anyhoozle. Yeah, he wasn't her assigned nurse, and the son didn't believe it, and the hospital gave Cullen a lie detector test, which he was able to pass, because as we all know, psychopaths and sociopaths are really good. He left Warren Hospital in 1993 and began working in the ICU and cardiac unit of Hunterdon Medical Center in Flemington, New Jersey. Cullen claims he didn't hurt anyone there the first 2 years, but the hospital records during that time period had been destroyed.
Wow.
By the time of his arrest, so his ass was probably lying.
Yeah.
But we do know that he killed 5 patients between January and September in 1996, again by overdosing them. Then he moved to Morristown Memorial Hospital, but was fired because of his shitty
Wait, was Morristown
importance.
in Morris County? Because that's where one of my murders takes place.
I don't know, because he also went over to Philadelphia, or to Pennsylvania for a little bit.
Interesting.
So in 98, he was hired at the Liberty Nursing and Rehab Center in Allentown, Pennsylvania, where he staffed a ward of respirator-dependent patients. Cullen gave patients drugs at unscheduled times and was fired after being caught entering a patient's room with a handful of syringes. Whoa. After leaving Liberty, he started working at Easton Hospital.
Jesus, how does this guy keep getting hired?
So, I'll read this part first. So, like, you might be wondering, why does this guy keep getting jobs? And it's because it was during this time in our nation where there was a shortage of nurses, and there was also no reporting system in place.
What years is this?
I mean, this is the 90s.
Just all throughout the 90s.
Yeah,
okay.
and so there was no reporting system in place at the time to identify nurses who'd had problems at previous hospitals, and they were concerned with liability. They were unwilling to take any sort of legal action against him on the off chance they were wrong. But, like, obviously, they fucking hella weren't.
Right. Don't be afraid to say something, guys.
Yeah, it's okay to be a whistleblower sometimes.
Sometimes. But also, don't be a fucking snitch, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but, like, also snitches get
stitches, yeah.
Like, I don't know, it's a catch-22.
Yeah.
So, at Easton Hospital in Pennsylvania, he murdered a patient, again, with heart medication, and an autopsy showed lethal amounts of heart medication in the person's blood, and the hospital started an internal investigation, but it ended up inconclusive. So, like I said, he just fucking somehow kept getting jobs at hospitals, and he found himself a job in Allentown at Lehigh Valley Hospital, where he murdered one patient and attempted to kill another, and a month later he voluntarily resigned from the hospital and took a job at St. Luke's Hospital in Bethlehem.
So anytime he got, like, a little hot and, like, people started, like, questioning, he would just move.
Basically, yeah. Within a 3-year span at St. Luke's, Cullen killed 5 patients and attempted to kill 2 more. I should also mention that Cullen was severely mentally unstable.
Right.
He was in and out of psychiatric facilities, and he had attempted to kill himself multiple times. So he was not, like, he obviously was very mentally unstable. No one at St. Luke's suspected Cullen of murder until a coworker found vials of medication in a garbage can, and she was curious because they weren't drugs that could be sold, like, recreationally, like, so that you could get money for them. And an investigation found that Cullen had taken the medication. He was offered a deal from the facility to either resign and be recommended to another hospital or just be fired. So he resigned in 2002, And 7 of his coworkers at St. Luke's alerted the Lehigh County District Attorney about Cullen and how they thought he was killing patients by giving them lethal doses of medication, but it was never looked into because of lack of evidence.
Whoa.
Later that year, Cullen got a job at Somerset Medical Center in Somerville, New Jersey, and he killed around 13 people, again, using heart medication, and he would use insulin, and he used epinephrine, which is basically EpiPens. So yeah, it's fucking ridiculous how many hospitals this guy fucking got jobs at.
Yeah.
This hospital, Somerset, started noticing clues indicating Cullen was up to something fishy. The hospital's computer system showed that Cullen had been accessing medical records of patients he wasn't assigned to, and the hospital's computerized drug dispensing cabinet showed that it was requesting medications that had already been prescribed and given to patients. And
so maybe the internet was just now finally starting to get, like, good.
Well, I mean, this was 2002-ish.
So in the 90s, not so great. Now that it's 2002, they're like,
Well, yeah, no, I mean, like, when you go to, like, pharmacies have time-sensitive, like their narcotics, or their, what are they called? Controlled substance medications are all like in like time safe.
Yeah,
it's crazy. And so like all of these requests were being made for more medicine, and they were all from Cullen, and so they were denied. In July of 2003, the executive director of the New Jersey Poison Information and Education System warned Somerset officials that at least 4 suspicious overdoses indicated that an employee was responsible for killing patients, but the hospital delayed contacting the police until October, and by then, Cullen had killed another 5 people.
Holy shit. How many people... Do you have a grand total at the end?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
When a patient at Somerset died of low blood sugar in October, the hospital alerted New Jersey State Police, who were fucking pissed at this hospital that they had failed to report a non-fatal insulin overdose that had been administered by Cullen back in August.
Wow.
And he was and they just fired him for lying on his job application.
So he didn't only kill old people.
He killed mostly... So he worked mostly in cardiac wards, burn units, ICUs... and then like in that respirator, whatever it is, dependent. So kind of like people who, you know, are probably a little older.
Right, and probably have like a higher risk.
Yes,
yeah,
but not all of them
patients
were like, you know, going to die.
Yeah,
like some of them were like on the up and up. So a nurse that was from Somerset began working with the police after being alarmed about Cullen's records of accessing drugs that had been linked to the deaths at the hospital, and she agreed to meet up with Cullen and wear a wire, and from this they were able to produce enough evidence against Cullen and arrest him.
So he admitted to it?
To her.
Why to her?
Maybe she was, I don't know, she got it out of him, I guess. I didn't read how she how she got it out of him, but he seemed like kind of probably a narcissist, and maybe... Yeah. She was like, hey, how you kill them people. When confessing, Cullen said that he overdosed patients in order to spare them from pain and end their suffering. But many of his victims, this was the word I was trying to think of earlier, were not terminal.
Yes, terminal.
And they were, in fact, patients who were recovering, and all of a sudden, they would just die.
Damn.
And they were like, He said he wanted to end his patients' suffering, but the medications he used to overdose them caused them to die in a lot more pain than if he had used painkillers.
Right.
Yeah. And Cullen insisted he was innocent until the police showed him all of the records from the hospitals where he'd killed people, and he was like, oh yeah. No, that was me.
And then he finally admitted it.
Yeah. He was, I mean, the reason we know of the number that we know is because he confessed to these. Okay. He was convicted with 18 of his 35 confirmed murders, but people are 99.99% sure that his kills
Over
had
100.
to be in the hundreds.
Yeah.
Like, no doubt. There definitely had to be. And he was given 18 consecutive life sentences, and he will be up for parole in the year 2403.
Huh.
So unless he's a vampire, I don't think he's getting out soon. Prompted by the Cullen case, several precautions and laws were put into place so that nothing like this could happen as easily as it was committed by Cullen.
That's good that they, changed
they did a lot to
Looking
make
at
it.
a picture of him.
Also, if you want to learn more about Cullen, I suggest reading the book The Good Nurse by Charles Graeber. And I found out today that it is being turned into a movie. So that should be good.
He's horrifying.
I know, right? Just imagine if that motherfucker was your nurse, and then also that motherfucker's your nurse, and he, trying to kill you. Like, that's not what I want to see if I'm in the intensive care unit.
No, girl.
He's gross.
Yeah, we don't, like him.
And he's still alive, and the guy who wrote this book, was, talked to him a lot, and he said that he was,
Did you read the book?
No, it is on my reading list, though.
Nice.
But, yeah, he also had, he had a wife and kids, but... And
There's a movie about him called Angel of Death, and the guy looks exactly like him. Is that not him playing himself?
Probably. They were like, I'm sorry, we couldn't find any actors that look like you. Can you just be you?
Really quick, can you come out of jail, be you, get good at acting, even though I'm not that good? Because honestly, I think it was a Lifetime movie.
Probably. Well, yeah, no, there is already one movie out about him, and it's a TV movie, but this one
made
is
for TV.
New. So who knows who will play Edmund Cullen? Maybe it'll be
maybe him again.
Maybe it'll be Edward. Maybe it'll be fucking Robert Pattinson.
I hope they have some. No. Okay, so shall I go with my next killer?
Yeah.
So I waited to tell you when you asked who my killers were because all of them are women.
Hell yeah.
Because I'm in a very fuck men kind of mood right now.
So okay.
So I'm going to start with
you're into
my first lady.
So ladies.
I'm into horrible people, apparently. I'm into bad women lately because I can't stop watching Bad Girls Club. And
it's kind of weird, though. I mean, I guess we shouldn't be hell yeah, women who kill. And
no. And in all of these cases, it was not a great situation. It was a not so great situation.
Yeah,
so we're going to start with my first lady. So on August 26th of 2000, in a quiet town of Chatham Township, New Jersey, police received a call from Kathleen Hagen saying that her parents, Adela Hagen, who was 92, and James Hagen, who was 86, had died. Now you might be thinking, oh, well, they're old.
They old.
Maybe they died of old age. But at the same time... Dun, dun, dun.
Wow, Morgan, is this an episode of Law & Order? Has to be you?
Dun, dun, this is my episode. I don't know. Dun, dun. So the Morris County Medical Examiner determined that they had both been asphyxiated to death. He also came to the conclusion that when they... Or smothered. Just you can't breathe. So that's how you died. So not being able to breathe.
Cool.
Yeah.
Not cool, but okay.
Because I guess drowning is technically asphyxiation just in the water.
Yeah.
But then you get water in your lungs rather than nothing in your lungs.
Right, but I think, and I don't know if I'm correct, but I believe that on a coroner's report, I think drowning is what they go by. I don't know if it's asphyxiation, but I mean that is technically.
I think it's asphyxiation by drowning,
probably.
But honestly, I don't know.
Cool.
So when they got there, they also came to the conclusion that the couple had been dead for at least 3 to 7 days.
Ew.
By the time they got there.
Ew.
There to greet them was their daughter Kathleen, who called the police. The police said that it looked like Kathleen had been wearing the same nightgown for a couple days in a row, based on how it looked.
Honestly,
and that she was extremely upset. Kathleen went to Harvard Medical School, so I guess this theme is not only New Jersey, but people who were in the medical field.
Hey, medies.
And she actually became the first ever female appointed resident in urology at the Massachusetts General Hospital in Boston. She was later appointed chief of urology at the Rutgers Medical School in New Jersey. Kathleen...
Shout out Rutgers.
Yeah. Kathleen had only a month previous moved back home to take care of her parents, whose health were ailing. She was at the time living in the Virgin Islands with her second husband, and they actually ran an inn. So she was no longer doing medical things at this point.
Oh,
so this
that's
is like
such
2000.
a transition.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Like, okay.
So James Hagen, her father, was like myself, an optician.
Cute.
And so that's kind of where she got like her wanting to be a doctor. Was being around like all like the doctors.
Yeah, I had that pipe dream for a little bit, and then I was like, oh, fuck school.
So she was like an extremely like amazing doctor and was like doing really well, and then she moved. And all of her neighbors, family, and friends said that Kathleen was a devoted daughter and that she loved her parents very much.
Okay.
However, Kathleen remained in the house with her parents' dead bodies for days.
Yeah.
And went about her business.
See, that's not okay.
Kathleen was arrested for murdering her parents in their sleep. One of them had a plastic bag over their head, and the other one was suffocated with a pillow.
Oh.
In court, Kathleen's lawyer stated that she barely even knew why she stood trial. They argued that Kathleen had chronic depression that worsened as she got older due to 2 failed marriages and the downfall of her medical career. She left her job as the chief of urology to run an inn with her husband, like I said, and it didn't end well. They also argued for the insanity plea because Kathleen had told the psychiatrists, or is that right? Psychiatrist?
Yeah.
Psychologist?
Yeah, they would go to a psychiatrist. Yeah. But they'd probably go to both, honestly.
Yeah. There was 2, and they both basically, anyways.
They said
she told them that she was receiving messages telling her to kill her parents from television ads, traffic lights, and playing cards. She also said that she would hear a male voice in her head that she believed to be her father's, commanding her to commit the killings.
Huh.
Kathleen was found not guilty by reason of insanity and was acquitted of both charges. Yeah, because women very often get the insanity plea where men don't. Because we're crazy.
Oh, yeah, because we're hysterical.
Yeah.
That's why we need hysterectomies.
Ugh.
Wow. So, wow.
Yeah.
Like, if she was a guy, she would have never gotten...
No.
Like, there's no fucking way.
Right.
But, I mean, obviously... there wasn't something okay there. Clearly something snapped.
Yes.
Something went downhill.
She was committed to the Trenton Psychiatric Hospital. She was not ordered a specific term of confinement. But the judge said that she needed long-term treatment because her actions were unpredictable. She was diagnosed with bipolar syndrome when she was in there. And years later was granted leave on certain occasions, such as her birthday, because she was responding so well to treatment, that she was then later released.
Okay.
Kathleen died at age 69 on April 18th of 2015 in her home, and her body was cremated.
Huh. Well, that is bonkers.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I started with the shorter story.
Yeah, that sucks. Yeah. It's mental illness is crazy.
Well, and there's a lot of that where like someone just kind of snaps and she didn't even like really remember doing it.
Yeah, that's like...
And I guess when they were on trial, because she had, I think she had 2 lawyers.
Okay.
And the...
Head?
Not the defense.
The prosecutor?
The prosecutor asked the lawyers if they think that it was a mercy killing or if they think that it was vindictive, and they both just answered no.
So they were asked like a multiple choice question and they just said no?
Yeah. And I got a lot of my information from like New York Times articles.
Oh, that is that's reliable.
Yeah. So I thought they were pretty reliable. But there wasn't a ton of information about like why she did it, because she never admitted to doing it. She didn't know. So we don't even really know what happened.
Wow. That's the story of Kathleen.
It's the story of Kathleen. Her name was also Adela, like her mom's, but she went by Kathleen because that was her middle name. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. That's sad.
Yeah.
My next New Jersey killer, his name is John List. He was a mass murderer and a fugitive. On November 9th of 1971, he killed his entire family in Westfield, New Jersey. While his kids were at school, he shot his wife Helen in the back of the head, as well as his mother Alma, but he shot her right in the eye. When his 16-year-old daughter and 13-year-old son came home from school, List shot both of them in the back of the head. Then he went to his bank and closed both his and his mother's bank accounts. And on the way home, he went to Westfield High School to watch his 15-year-old son play soccer.
Ew, and then he killed him?
They drove home together, and when they got home, List repeatedly shot his son in the face and chest because he had tried to fight back, which pissed him off, and so he just repeatedly shot him. He put his wife and his children's bodies in sleeping bags and left his mother's body up in the attic. He wrote a letter to his pastor that he left on his desk saying there was too much evil in the world and that he had killed his family to save their souls. He cleaned up the crime scene and took every family photo in the house and cut himself out of the pictures.
What?
Then he turned on the radio to...
I feel like I've heard this.
Yeah, he turned on the radio to a religious station and just left the house. The murders weren't discovered until almost a month later, due in part to the family's reluctance to socialize. And List sent letters to the school explaining their absence because they were going to North Carolina for several weeks. The case became the most notorious crime in New Jersey history since the kidnapping and murder of the Lindbergh baby.
Wow.
Which I was like, oh, I didn't know that was New Jersey.
Me
and then
either.
I was like, I don't want to talk about a baby dying.
Yeah.
Because dead babies are sad. A nationwide manhunt was launched. Police investigated hundreds of leads without any success. All reliable photographs of List had been destroyed. Maybe that's why he took his face out of all of the pictures.
What year was this?
This was in the 70s.
Okay, yeah, so there's not like there was anything online.
Yeah, no. So the family car was found just parked at JFK Airport in New York. But there was no evidence that he'd ever gotten on a flight. 18 years later, on May 21st, 1989, the murders were recounted on the TV show, which had just started, America's Most Wanted, which was started by John
what year? I'm sorry.
Walsh. Good old 1989.
Okay.
Everyone knows America's Most Wanted. It's hosted by John Walsh, who was the father of Adam Walsh, who was killed by maybe Henry Lee Lucas. We don't know.
Right.
The broadcast featured an age-progressed clay bust sculpted by a forensic artist, which turned out bearing a very close resemblance to List's actual appearance. And List was located and arrested in Virginia less than 2 weeks after the episode was broadcast.
That's how good this shit looked?
I guess so, man.
Wow.
Back in 1971, the FBI discovered in 1991, the FBI discovered later.
Okay.
List had traveled by train to New Jersey, or from Jersey rather, to Michigan, and then to Colorado, and then settled in Denver, adopting the name Robert Peter Clark.
How do you just change your name?
I honestly don't fucking know, because my next story, the guy did it a lot, and I'm like, how do you get away with that?
How do you get ID? I mean, I guess fake ones, but like...
I guess, or like, I mean, it's like, do they not check to see, like, IDs, like, in the fucking 80s and 70s? Was that,
so
like,
that's how many
not a
years
thing?
did he get caught from when it actually happened?
He killed the family in the year of 1971, and he was not caught until 1989.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
So, what was I gonna say?
And they knew it was him. Like, they knew it was him. They just could never find him.
They could, yeah, because he was on the...
That's the thing about murdering in, like, the 60s and 70s.
Because, like, sometimes they go away, and then you're like, fuck, where'd they go?
Right.
So, on June 1st of 1989, he was arrested at Richmond accounting firm after a Denver neighbor viewed the episode of America's Most Wanted broadcast and was like, wow, Robert looks a lot like, not Robert.
Right.
And they alerted the authorities. He continued to stand by his alias for several months, even after he was extradited back to New Jersey in late 1989. But he finally faced with irrefutable evidence. He finally admitted to it. Yeah, because they literally had his.
So he was super religious.
Fingerprints. Yeah, they had his fingerprints because he'd been in the military, and so he finally confessed to his true identity on February 16th of 1990 At his trial, List testified that he was faced with grave financial difficulties in the 70s. He'd lost his job at the Jersey City Bank, and to avoid sharing this humiliating development with his family, he spent each workday at the Westfield train station reading newspapers until it was time to come home. He skimmed money from his mother's bank accounts to avoid defaulting on his mortgage. So he was stealing money from his mom.
Did you say he burned his house down?
No. But why do you ask that?
Because I feel like that's what would be the smart thing to do.
Well, okay. Well, it's really weird that you say that. He lived in like a huge fucking mansion.
Before? Or when they caught him?
This, where the murders took place.
Oh, okay.
I believe if this is the story I'm thinking of. I didn't talk anything about that, but it was. I'll tell you in a second why that's really weird that you asked me that.
Okay.
So according to his trial testimony, Helen apparently had pressured John List into marriage by falsely claiming that she was pregnant, then insisted that they get married in Maryland, which does not require blood testing to obtain a marriage license. So you do have to get a blood test to have a marriage license. Was it you and I were talking about that the other day, right?
Maybe.
Because we were talking about like
really quick, just to interrupt you, I just got a text. State Senate just voted to approve recreational marijuana in Illinois. Woo, 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 woo.
Wait. Weed is recreational in Illinois now?
I guess. Or like it's gonna be really soon.
Huh. Right now when we record this podcast, that's so cute.
I don't know if it happened just this second, but Mike just texted me about it.
Blaze it, bitches. It's 7:47. Legally.
And to all of you who have been doing it for years, that must be nice.
I'm like
that must be fucking nice.
That must be like
nice.
So though her so Helen was apparently okay. That is a really big deal, and I'm happy that you
happy.
I'm
going to hit your pen. Maybe
Cute.
legally? I honestly don't know.
No, it has to be enforced. So Helen apparently was an alcoholic and had some issues of her own, and her health was progressively worsening. And she said
Helen was the mom.
Yeah, that was
his
the
mom.
Yeah. She didn't even tell.
Did she live with them?
Yeah, the mom lived with them. He killed her first. Like, they were home together. He killed her.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like I wasn't listening, but...
Yeah.
I wasn't listening well.
Thanks.
I'm just kidding, man.
So, she had, like, consumption, or, like... Just because... So, anyway, he said that because the disease... like had been so bad, it transformed her from an attractive young woman to an unkept and paranoid recluse who frequently and often publicly disparaged List, comparing his sexual prowess unfavorably with that of her first husband, aka being like, my ex-husband dig better than yours, bitch.
Wait, his mom?
No, his wife.
Oh, Jesus, I'm sorry.
Stay
That's
present.
fucked up. That's fucked up.
Yeah, a court-appointed psychiatrist testified List suffered from obsessive-compulsive personality disorder and that he saw only two solutions to his situation: accept welfare or kill his family and send their souls to heaven. Welfare was an unacceptable option, he reasoned, because it would expose him and his family to ridicule and violate his authoritarian father's teachings regarding the care and protection of family members. On April 12th of 1990, List was convicted of 5 counts of first-degree murder. At a sentencing hearing, he denied direct responsibilities for his actions. List later expressed a degree of remorse for his crime. He said, "I wish I'd never done what I did." He said, "I've regretted my action and prayed for forgiveness ever since." And he was on... he was being interviewed by Connie Chung in 2002, and she asked him why he hadn't taken his own life, and he said he believed that suicide would have barred him from heaven.
Ah, fuck him.
Where he wanted...
Oh, but murdering your whole family's fine.
Right. Yeah. And he wanted to be able to be reunited with them, so he didn't want to kill himself. So List died...
They don't want to see you.
Yeah, he died of complications from pneumonia.
What was his first name, John?
Yeah, at the age of 82 on March 21st of 2008 while in prison custody in St. Francis Medical Center in Trenton, New Jersey. In reporting his death, the Newark Star Ledger referred to him as the Boogeyman of Westfield.
Holy fuck. That's him?
Morgan keeps Googling him.
Oh, they said he was a mass murderer. Did he kill anyone else? Or is mass murder like killing your whole family?
I mean, I would say 5 people is mass. That's really sad. Morgan keeps pulling up pictures.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to see. His wife's eye was a little weird, but that's okay.
Well, he shot her right in it.
Whoa, maybe that's why.
Stop, Morgan.
No, they said he shot his mom in the eye.
Oh, you're right. Okay, so...
And that was the one that was playing soccer?
I don't know, Morgan. This is making it sadder.
I'm sorry. He aged not well.
No.
That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah, you said that about everybody. Stop it, Morgan.
Sorry.
Morgan just keeps looking up pictures of people and then is like, is that him? So if you guys are
sorry, I like to know who I'm freaking... Like, I know the people... I know what it looks... All my people look like, so I want to know what all your people look like.
Well, maybe just, like, have it be a surprise.
Maybe like eat it. So that's the story of List. John List and his family.
Eat it?
Yeah, I was gonna say something else and then I stopped myself slightly.
Oh, well, I thought eat it was funny.
Thank you.
Cool.
Me too.
Of course you did. Okay, so go on with your next.
Okay, cool. So my next story is it's like a cousin situation. So one of them is a girl, one of them not a girl. So I guess my whole list isn't ladies. But I went embarking for just women.
And not a girl?
Exactly.
Were they a boy?
Yes.
Okay.
So it was spring break 2010 in Jersey City, Jersey.
Ooh, everyone's tans were orange and crispy.
Hell yeah. Latonia Bellamy, who we were speaking of.
Is she related to Bill Bellamy?
Maybe. She was an aspiring she was aspiring to be a social worker, and she was home from college. She, like I said, went home and stayed with her cousin, Shaquan Bellamy, and decided to go to a party, the two of them. They were drinking and doing drugs, and all of a sudden, Shaquan pulls out a gun. And you know when you're at a party and someone just pulls a gun out, like, just to show it off.
You know when your cousin just pulls out a gun at a party?
Right. And Latonia said that she had never seen a gun and that she wanted to know what it felt like.
Okay.
So, another party that was also happening that same night was that of Mia Hack and her fiancé, Michael Muchikoki. They were returning home from their engagement party.
Okay.
Unfortunately, at this time, Shaquan and Latoya and another one of their friends kind of were just out running around with this gun, and their plan was to rob someone to get money.
Huh.
So they come up to Mia and Michael, who were literally just probably getting the gifts from their engagement party out of their car, and they came up and Shaquan pulled a gun on them. He said, "Give me your car keys, give me all of your money." So they did, with absolutely no struggle at all. They just gave him everything. Shaquan then tells them to get on the ground, and he's yelling at them. He's yelling to Latonia that, you should be doing this, you should do this. You said you wanted to do something you've never done before. You said you wanted to have fun. You're home from school.
Oh my God.
And then he shoots Michael in the head.
Oh, imagine being that poor fucking couple. You just had probably one
outside of your own house.
Yeah, outside your own house.
Where you feel safe.
Imagine all of the times you've come home from hanging out with family or at a gathering, and you're just unloading the car,
and you're so excited just to go home and go to bed,
and oh my God, just to think, and then also to be told to get on the ground, and then hear the person waving a gun at you yelling at someone else there that they just want to kill them for fun.
Oh, and Nadiyah was fully alive when Michael got shot in the head. Oh, and he died instantly. Then Shaquan gave Latonia the gun, and she shot Nadiyah, killing Nadiyah.
Oh my God.
So they robbed the victims, including Nadiyah's engagement ring. But when they tried to take off with the car, an anti-theft device on the steering wheel they could not get it off, so they ended up just fleeing on foot. A few days later, Shaquan was arrested for an unrelated crime. Surprise, fucking surprise. He clearly is a piece of shit. But when the gun were apparently searching his home, they found his shotgun, and they found Michael's blood on the barrel of the gun, because when he shot him point blank in the head.
Oh yeah, had to be splatter on it with a shotgun. That was fucking stupid of him.
Yeah.
What a dumb
So
dildo.
Latonya's fingerprints and DNA was later recovered at the scene, so that's how they knew that it was the two of them.
So they must have had their fingerprints prior.
Yeah,
Maybe
for some reason.
Maybe they like went there on like a school field trip or something.
Maybe. I mean, I got my fingerprints taken when I was 14.
Yeah, I mean, they are pieces of shit, but I wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Right. Shaquan was sentenced to life in prison, and Latonya is sentenced to life plus 30 years with a non-parole period of 93 years.
Fuck, so they got it more... So he technically didn't shoot any of... He didn't technically kill anybody.
No, he did. But he only got a life sentence.
Okay.
Or if he got more, I didn't go as depth into his information.
Okay.
As I did into hers.
Okay.
Because I cared not a lot about him.
I cared not a lot.
Also, a lot of the information that I got from this and my next were from a documentary show that...
Oh, I got one of mine from a doc show.
Yeah, that used to come on, and it was about, like, women who kill.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and,
I
just
like
also
an
wanted...
A&E show or something.
It was something.
Literally think I saw
Might have
that.
been We.
Is it on... Was it on Amazon Prime?
No, I watched it on YouTube.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. But Michael and Naya's friends started a charity for like people, I think like for like students, like in their behalf, because I think they were young, like they were pretty young, and they just to like help give like people a future.
I like when that's a very good way, I think, to honor someone's memory is to give to someone else like multiple times. Okay, so
that was that.
So, like I said, my next killer I also got from an Amazon documentary.
Okay.
And the story is fucking ridiculous, and I don't want to laugh because there is a death in it, but okay. So, last night, I was planning on just rewatching all of Mr. Robot again.
But sure.
I was...
Wait, are you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Done.
I was done.
Is there only 2 seasons?
I was Law and Order. Dun. No, there's 4, and...
There's 4 seasons already out?
No, there's 3 seasons already out, but the 4th season is actually going to come out this December, and they're doing it British style, so it's going to be a big holiday special.
That's all they're doing?
Yeah, so it's just going to be like
be
one super long episode. But I feel like that at first I was kind of bummed because I was like, yeah, would I love 10 more episodes of Rami?
Right.
But if you think about it, like
he's busy.
in the he's busy. No, well, yeah, he's going to be the new villain. Or he's going to be the villain in the new fucking James Bond movie.
Well, he's going to be doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
That's
but
just what's next for him.
Well, yeah,
he's so talented.
And I guess they always had kind of like the creator had always thought of it like being like this. And like if you just think about like the last seasons of TV shows, they have like so many episodes that are like kind of fillers and like that are that
Game
good.
Of fucking Thrones.
So to have one giant, I mean, it'll probably be like 2 hours or something long. Like Doctor Who does it. That's how the British version of The Office ended. Mm-hmm. They ended with like a big Christmas special. Like it's very, very popular. Yeah. So I think it's fucking dope. But anyway,
that is cool.
Yeah. So anyway,
another fucking Mr. Robot tangent from Holly.
That happens like every day for me. So I found the show called Who the Fuck?
Really?
Well, it's called Who the Bleep. Remember those shows that were like Who the Bleep Did I Marry?
Yes.
They made one that's just like Who the Bleep? Because it wasn't like people that married people. It's like people who had like experiences with like a friend or some like I don't know, someone in their life that ended up being that they were like
kind of like a what the fuck happened to my life.
Yeah,
that's
like,
cool. I actually kind of want to watch that.
Yeah, no, I mean it's like whatever. So
it's whatever.
It's whatever. So
sorry.
No, it's okay. Like I said, I was like looking through, and I was just randomly looking through at the titles, and they were all kind of puns. Mm-hmm. And one of them was called Shana Not, and I was like, I have to watch this right now because it's a play off of Shanana. For those of you unfamiliar, Shanana was a rock and roll doo-wop band.
Yeah,
from the 70s. They had their own show. where they sang popular doo-wop songs, and they also opened at Woodstock. So just think of the world's most hippiest music festival to ever occur, and it started with someone being like, oh, I wonder, who wrote the book of love? Chapter 1, they tell you. I don't know.
No, I felt it.
Thank you for doing the...
Yeah, you're way better at it than me. I'm not. That was okay.
That was good. I majored in...
Yeah, you're
in
so
school,
good at it.
And I minored in... I can't do that one. I tried doing that one where you, like, flick your cheek.
No, you are good at that one, though. I've heard you. I majored in, like, making your hands fart. No, I didn't. That wasn't good.
You lost your touch. Oh, I can also do the... Wait, hold on.
What is that? Just a weird version of a whistle?
It's whistling and humming at the same time.
I'm a really talented whistler.
I'm not. I'm mostly just going...
And I'm really good at snapping.
Cool, Morgan. Weird brag. So anyways...
Weird flex back.
Everyone. So, I mean, like, I know who Shanana is, but you clearly did not.
Nope.
So, so the show itself I didn't think was very good.
Okay.
I'm not a big fan of reenactments. And these reenactments were
see, the
cheesy as
reenactments in mine were honestly iconic.
Okay, see, the ones in mine were like, they found these people off the street.
See, the ones in mine were like, they were so good that I was like, wait, is that her? And then I looked at the actual picture and I was like, oh god.
Yeah, mine weren't cast very well. So this is the story of Tommy Mara, who we love.
Okay.
He loves...
Is he the one who killed someone?
No.
Oh.
So this is the story who was like, who the fuck?
Okay.
So it's about Tommy Mara. He loves doo-wop music, and he is in his own 5-part harmony group. And they're, like, pretty well known and pretty, like, popular and famous amongst the doo-wop music community. And
what time period was this?
This is, like, now-ish.
There's a doo-wop community? Why am I not joining it?
I don't know, but we are going to see Tommy Mara perform sometime.
Down.
I love doo-wop.
Do we have to go to New Jersey?
No, maybe.
Fuck.
No, I think he said that he tours. So, I mean, I don't know what he tours. So, like, he was obviously a really, really big Shanana fan because they were, like, rock and roll and doo-wop. Like, he knew so much about Shanana. I didn't know that Shanana started out as a TV show, and it was, like, they would do little sketches, and then in between... they did, like, covers of, like, really popular doo-wop songs. So, like, they'd be like, dip, 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 wow.
Love that.
Yeah. Yeah, they just, like, scatted. So, Tommy was in Florida performing. Fuck. So, maybe we go down and catch him in Florida. So, he was down in Florida performing a show. And afterwards, a guy came up to him and introduced himself as Danny C. And that he was a former member of Shanana. He even had a huge gold necklace that said Shanana, and he was wearing a hot pink jacket that said Danny C on the front and Shanana on the back.
I live for that.
But when Tommy heard Danny C perform for the first time, he was like, well, what the fuck? Like, he assumed because Shanana was a relatively well-known group, Danny C would be like, you know, good at singing. Mm-hmm. And also that he would be in a group because he was doing doo-wop. And, like, that needs, like, far point harmony.
Yeah.
And he would just sing by himself with a backing track. Also, I would like to point out that there have been, like, 50 members of the group Shanana. Like, the list of former members of Shanana is, like, the fucking phone book. So I can maybe...
Wait, is Shanana kind of like Jersey Boys?
Shanana? No, could be... They sang Jersey... They sang... Well, Jersey Boys is the Four Seasons, and they started out in Jersey, but they probably
were they doo-woppy? Yeah, right.
They were
super doo-wop,
super doobie woppy. Oh gosh, no, yeah. So I mean, they obviously covered this thing, or they covered this thing. So Shanana probably covered the Four Seasons,
totally
the whatevers. So let me see. So. It's like completely understandable not to maybe remember if Danny C had been in the band or not. But even though, like I said, Danny was only singing by himself, to a backing track. I can't stress that enough. So Tommy looked Danny C up on the internet and found his personal website. And this was like the late 90s, so I'm guessing it was made with Angel Fire.
Totally.
But at the top of the homepage, it said, "The bad boy is back." And at the bottom, it said, "Former member of Sha Na Na."
Why do I feel like this just became an episode dedicated to Sha Na Na?
I don't know, but I have never said or written the word Sha Na Na so many fucking times in my life.
Yeah.
If you would ask me a while ago if I would ever say Sha Na Na so fucking much, I would have been like, cool.
Nah.
No. So even though Danny C was somewhat popular in the doo-wop scene, he only performed at like little dive bars and small car shows.
Okay.
Danny C told Tommy that they should do a show together, and Tommy was like, hell yeah, because he was expecting Danny to have like awesome sound equipment because he had all of this money like on his website. He had, you know, pictures of him in front of his like mansion, pictures of him by his like super nice pool, all of the really nice cars he had. So Tommy had no reason not to believe that this guy was like rolling in that Sha Na Na dough.
Totally.
But also, so Tommy and his like little band opened the show, crushed probably, obviously. But Danny showed up late with a shitty microphone, a boombox, and a broken cassette tape.
Me as fuck.
He also performed horribly, and after every single song he sang, he would just tell the audience that he was a former member of Sha Na Na. So Danny C bombed, and people who had paid money to see a former member, because this was like it was a pretty decent venue, and like it was sold out, so people bought tickets.
Wow.
And like huge like Sha Na Na heads like came out expecting to see a former member of Sha Na Na, and instead saw this piece of shit who was not part of Sha Na Na.
Wow.
And like so the like hardcore Sha Na Na heads were like, no,
liar!
They're like, this is
phony.
Yeah, they're like, no, this guy was not
fake.
Yeah, they're like, he was not in Sha Na Na. And they demanded a refund, and Tommy like felt really, really bad about like he didn't want to like his name be smirched. Like, I don't think besmirched is the right name, but like he didn't want like he was just a very, very sweet guy. Like even though this dude was clearly lying to him, he still like tried giving him the benefit of the doubt.
That's nice.
And like he felt really bad for the like venue club owner, because all these people were asking for their money back, because like after the show, Danny just like took off.
Wow.
And just left Tommy to like deal with it. And so the day after the show, Tommy called actual former member of Sha Na Na named
Because he had all their phone numbers in his phone.
all 1,000 of them. His name is Bowser. I only know that he is in the member of Sha Na Na because of Adam Sandler's Hanukkah song. Because he talks about Bowser.
Cool.
And so Tommy asked Bowser if he'd ever heard of Danny C, and Bowser was like, oh god, he's back. Because apparently Danny C had been pretending to be a former member of Sha Na Na for a long time, but the band never took any sort of action because Danny C only performed at, like I said, little bars and little car shows.
Right, and they didn't really matter.
They didn't want to give him any sort of publicity, and honestly, they really didn't give a shit.
Yeah, I mean, who cares?
Yeah. So
that'd be like me saying I was in Destiny's Child.
I know. That'd be like me saying I was an Olsen twin,
When
which
I sing
used
like
to when I was
karaoke at
little.
some random ass place. Yeah, I was in Destiny's Child. I'm Michelle.
You're Michelle. They're like, yeah, they're like
or I'm that other girl who was in the band before Michelle.
Yeah, they're like, in this economy, you might as well be.
Right.
So at this point, Tommy cut all ties with Danny C. But one day, Tommy decided to meet up with Danny after Danny had called him and like begged like to see Tommy, and Tommy was like, okay, whatever, I'll just like I'll see this guy fucking out. So Danny got into Tommy's car, and he just like handed him all his paperwork. Like he had a social security card and like a birth certificate and like a baptism certificate, all that said the name Vinnie Taylor, who was an actual former Sha Na Na member. But he died of a heroin overdose in 1974.
Whoa.
Yeah, so, like, Danny rather, had, legitimately, like, copied and had been getting away with being this person who had died. So Danny Vinny told Tommy that Sean and I had gotten in trouble with some drugs, and because of their clean-cut image, they blamed it all on Vinny, and then told him that he had to disappear and fake his death. Tommy did not believe him, and they never saw each other again. But Tommy never knew what he would eventually find out about Danny C. Because Danny C's real name was actually Elmer Edward Solly. And on the night of July 25th, 1969, Solly was shit-faced, and he beat his girlfriend's 2-year-old son to death.
Oh my God.
He was only 24 years old, which is crazy. Man. No. I'm just saying, that's so fucking crazy. He was young. He turned himself in and was sent to Trenton State Prison.
That's where
your next person is?
No, that's where, what's her face? That's where, the first lady went.
Yeah.
She went to Trenton.
Well, yeah. I mean, Trenton's a big, probably the biggest city in New Jersey. There's also Jersey City. IDK, y'all. But yeah, no, it seemed like a lot of our people, have Trenton ties.
2 for sure.
Yeah, so he was sentenced to, or was convicted, rather, of manslaughter. So he mailed his mother a bunch of letters and was complaining about how he was being treated in prison, and he was somehow transferred to a medium-level security prison in Leesburg, New Jersey. And during a visit with his girlfriend, Solly was able to escape, and with 6 hours before it was reported, Solly had plenty of time to flee. As soon as he escaped, he began using fake identities to evade capture. He was arrested in Philadelphia for stealing, but because he used a fake name, police didn't know who he was. He was also pulled over for a traffic violation, and because he used a fake name, the cops, again, didn't know who he really was. Plus, he had all of this Vinnie Taylor's, stuff, so, because he wouldn't have, but you were saying, I don't know how he would have gotten away with that. So he must have made himself a fake driver's license, because his driver's license would still be in custody because they take all that shit away from you. But anyhoozle, Solly eventually made his way down to Florida. Detectives tried questioning his family, but his mother was adamant about not saying anything to the police about Solly's whereabouts, and his escape turned into a cold case. Solly eventually settled on the name of Vinnie Taylor, the deceased Sha-Na-Na member, and began performing under the stage name of Danny C.
Whoa.
In 1999, New Jersey State Police reopened the cold case. They used a forensic artist who used old pictures of Solly to create an image of what he would currently look like. And another break in the case was when Solly's mother passed away in 2000, and when she was gone, other family members started cooperating with the police, and they told them that Solly was living in Florida under the pseudonym Danny C. and pretending to be a former member of Sha-Na-Na. Based on the age...
Was the only murder the kid?
It was just the kid. It's mostly the Sha-Na-Na. This is a great story.
Okay.
No, it's not, because that kid died. So, anyways, based on the aged image of Solly and the family's information, authorities went to Florida to find Solly, and they found him sitting on a pier fishing. A U.S. Marshal went up to him and asked him if he liked the fishing in Florida, and Solly was like, yeah. And the Marshal was like, how about fishing up in New Jersey? And Solly was like, oh shit.
Damn.
So in 2001, he was sent back to New Jersey and was convicted of escaping prison and for his manslaughter sentence. He was paroled only 2 years later for good behavior and time served. And he lived in a welfare motel in New Jersey until he died of cancer in Gloucester City, New Jersey.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's a crazy one.
I thought that was...
Mostly just very Sha-Na-Na, but I guess there was a little murder sprinkled in there.
Well, yeah, he fucking killed a kid.
Well, yeah.
That's
crazy.
I just thought it was more of a crazy fucking story because, just imagine...
It is a crazy story.
You, meet this
How did you stumble
guy.
upon this story?
I fucking... Have you been...
Just by watching that documentary?
Yeah.
So you watched other episodes too?
Oh, no. So I was just watching it because I'm like, fuck yeah, Sha-Na-Na. And then I found out that it was from New Jersey. That's why I texted you and I was like, I'm changing.
Oh, cool. I like that.
The one afterwards, though, because they were like, Amazon doesn't give you the chance. They're like, oh, you're done with this episode? We're going to turn the next one on in 2 seconds.
Literally.
And they... had one, and I'm like, this sounds super familiar, and it was about the Craigslist killer.
Ooh.
So we should do an episode about, like, I don't know, like, tacky, like, the digital age serial killer.
Why not?
Or, like...
I mean, we've talked about a couple already.
Mail order serial killers, I don't know.
Like the Dexter guy?
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, so...
All right, so I'll get to my last
I just thought it was...
kill.
So, yeah, mine wasn't about, like, a mass killer or anything. He was just a piece of shit.
He was just a crazy-ass fucking
But, like,
con
the
artist.
fact that he... Just all of that. And then I also just the fact that I, like, randomly chose to watch it. And it ended up being, like, a New Jersey thing.
Right.
So that was the story of Danny C., a.k.a. not Vinnie Taylor, actually...
No.
Solly.
So wait, did Vinnie Taylor die?
Vinnie Taylor did actually die of a heroin overdose in 1974.
You did say that. Okay. All right, so
R.I.P.
For sure.
So, last one.
Last but not least. Kenny Jones was a father of 3 and recently had just separated from his wife, Sharon Mowens. At the time when he was separated, he started working at a fast food chain. I don't know which one.
Oh,
and he met
mysterious.
18-year-old Nadiyah Venable.
10?
18.
Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, Venable? It looks like, I'm sorry, it looks like the last name of Sarah Paulson's character in American Horror Story Apocalypse. I'm very sorry.
Anyways, also this took place in Newark, New Jersey.
That's another
which is like
really,
a really
big city.
Big city. Well, yeah, Newark. It's where like the airport is and stuff.
Yeah, Trenton, Jersey City.
Okay, so they were dating, and it was kind of like a whirlwind romance. They moved in together very quickly, but Kenny did let Nadiyah know that, like very early on, that Sharon would always be a huge part of his life because she was the mother of his 2 sons, and even told her that they were mostly just on a break and that he had every intention of being with her again.
Oh, that's
That's
always awkward when you're in a relationship with someone and they're like, yeah, I'm probably going to get back.
Can't relate. That's never happened to me.
Maybe it just happens in like friends with benefits situations.
Oh, maybe.
I don't know. Well, because obviously it's not a real relationship for that person if they're already foreseeing themselves like leaving you for the other one.
But like living with someone else?
Yeah, that is kind of cuckoo bananas.
Right. So Nadiyah became pregnant with Kenny's baby, and everyone kind of thought that she did this on purpose because then she knew that he would never leave her if she had his baby.
Yeah.
Which
women do.
Yeah, it's really fucked up. But this actually did the opposite, and the pregnancy kind of ended up tearing them apart. So,
which also happens.
Kenny moved out in April of 2010. Nadiyah was 6 months pregnant at the time, and he left her basically high and dry with no money. She couldn't have a job.
No.
You could, but
well, because she was only 18.
Not like that kind of a job. You couldn't. Yeah, she was maybe 19 at this point, but yeah, probably 18 still.
Wow. Yeah, that's kind of a shitty thing for him to do.
And she had a lot of bills, and she tried to get him to pay them, but he wasn't. He was kind of a piece of shit and kind of a fuckboy, TBH.
And did he like pay child support or anything?
Well, she was still pregnant.
Oh, right. Sorry, child hasn't been childed yet.
So Nadiyah hated Sharon, and they had a few run-ins. And basically, she was obviously super jealous of her because she wanted to be with Kenny, but he wanted to be with his wife.
Did Kenny go back to...
Yeah, so he left her and went back with her.
Oh,
and they were back together and like living together in
while
a new
she
apartment
was pregnant.
together. 6 months pregnant.
Ooh, that would make me mad.
So
on
Nadiyah,
all sides of the board.
Yeah. So Nadiyah decided she wanted to scare Sharon. She asked her 15-year-old cousin to help her. They emptied out 2 spice containers and filled them with bleach. Then they went over to Sharon's house with the intention of just beating her up. This was May 15th, 2010, the day before Mother's Day. She was home kind of like cleaning up the house, getting ready. So she had a daughter who was 10, but that was Kenny's stepdaughter. So he wasn't the actual dad, but he was the dad of both the little boys. One was 3, one was 6. Sorry, I can't stop saying.
And she was 6 months pregnant when she was doing this.
Nadiyah, yeah.
Wow.
So Nadiyah and her cousin, whose name we don't know because she was underage, she had her cousin go to the door because they wouldn't know who she was. So she knocked on the door and was like, hey, is your mom home? And the little girl was like, yeah. But then at that same time, the mom came up to answer the door. At this time, Nadiyah and the cousin broke into the house. They threw bleach into Shadon's eyes, rendering her basically helpless.
Yeah.
They started beating her, punching her. They, like, had her on the ground. I'm sure they were, like, pulling her hair. There was a struggle that ended up in the kitchen. Shadon reached for a knife to defend herself, but Nadiyah took the knife from her and stabbed her 27 times in front of her children.
My fucking God. Yeah. 27
times.
Okay, I can... See, what's fucked up about that to me is that she was, like, trying to... Like, the one woman, Shadon, was, like, trying to protect herself, and then the other girl was like, here, I'm gonna take that knife, but I'm actually gonna fucking... So she probably did it out of, like, anger that she was fighting back, like...
And the bleach thing, that's what made me, like... That's what made me be like, I think I've heard this story before.
Yeah.
Also, this happened around the exact same time as my last murder. They both happened in, like, spring break of 2010.
Oh my God, you made that sound like the last time you murdered
somebody. Last time I killed somebody. This is around the same time.
Okay. Oh, that's crazy. I think there's probably there's got to be some overlapping with ours. Jersey ain't big.
So they fled the scene.
Oh my God, this story's fucked up.
Shadon's daughter ran to... I think like a real estate agent that was like close to their house to call 911. Shadon had crawled like out of the house to like her front yard, and her neighbors had obviously heard everything. So her neighbor tried coming over, and he tried to like, you know, like put pressure on her wounds. Mm-hmm. And he said that the 3-year-old kept crying out, "I have to clean up, mommy." Yeah, so Shadon's 10-year-old daughter knew who Nadiyah was, so she told the police, "I know who did this."
I'm sorry, that really fucking made me
sad. It's really fucked up. And the day before Mother's Day.
And like, just because a little kid doesn't understand, they just see like,
a 3-year-old.
I need to clean up, mommy. Oh, that fucking breaks my heart.
So Nadiyah actually ended up giving herself up to the police.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. What happened after...
They took off and, she died before, like, the ambulance even got there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they just fled.
Yeah, they just fled. And so I guess, like, a couple days later, I don't know exactly, I think, like, 3 or 4 days later, maybe, she went into the police station because she said her car was stolen. Really, her car was, like, towed.
Okay.
But when they, like, saw who she was, they were like, "No, you're not getting your car back. You're arrested for the murder of Shadon."
Because they knew who to look for, obviously.
They knew exactly who to look for. So during trial, she and her defensive team tried to blame the entire murder on her 15-year-old cousin, saying that she just wanted to go there to beat her up, but that it was her cousin's idea to kill her.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, what would your 15-year-old niece or cousin or whoever
have like against her?
What would her motive be other than the fact that she's young and impressionable and probably thought like, you're her cool big cousin?
Not so cool.
Yeah, well, not cool, but I mean,
not cool.
Well, not cool.
Not
but I mean,
cool.
Not, you know what I mean? Like, she probably like looked up to her.
Maybe, yeah.
I don't know, but like, fuck her for like throwing her under the bus. I mean, she's a fucking kid too. God.
The cousin pled guilty to conspiring to murder, but her sentence was sealed because she's a minor. Mm-hmm. 10 months.
That's what Charles Manson was.
With. And Nadiyah was sentenced to 55 years in prison with the possibility of parole.
But women never get life sentences.
Only,
I swear to God.
10 months after her conviction, Nadiyah died in prison from a seizure.
Oh.
So there's like 4 children who don't have moms because of all of this.
Yeah. So she fucking got arrested while she was still pregnant, obviously.
Well, yeah.
And so that baby... Oh, that's so fucking sad.
Yeah.
I wonder...
It happens all the time.
I wonder if, like, the dad... Or I wonder if, like, Kenny was, like took parental
Well, I'm sure he, like, has his kids. and
oh my
maybe
God,
the daughter
yeah.
too. But
Oh,
honestly, I don't
know.
I didn't look into that so much.
No,
but
yeah. No,
I wanted to end it grim.
No, yeah. This isn't the Sisters Happy.
This isn't the Sisters, whatever that band was called.
The Sisters Shanana.
Yeah, this is not the Sisters Shanana podcast.
Good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. I just like going.
Whoa. I think we could start a doo-wop band.
Yeah, just the two of us.
Stop.
That went into a little bit of an air guitar there, my
Yeah,
sister.
a little bit.
So,
New Jersey's fucked up.
yeah,
The Garden State is
a bad movie.
I went
hate
through
that
so many of
movie.
just dudes, and they were all like just like rape and like throwing girls in fucking woods, and I was like, I'm not doing this. So that's why I chose women.
Yeah, I'm happy. Those were interesting stories. That's why I wanted to do one that was a little more, not. Well, I mean,
Lighthearted? I know it was lighthearted.
I mean,
yeah,
compared
kid
to
died.
these, yeah, that's. But I mean, yeah, it just shows how like crazy.
Yeah,
and like both of my being able to evade the cops for that long.
it's so easy for a guy.
Yeah.
Well, and maybe
I don't know, man. I just like think about that one couple that like changed their shirts and like pants like every block when they were like escaping.
Yeah, that's insane.
So that they could like.
Well, and like Andrew Cunanan and how he like changed his, or did he change his outfit when he?
I don't know. Ted Bundy like parted his hair the other way and put an ugly mole on his face. It's like, yeah, we still know it's you, Ted. You only have like this most terrifying eyeballs in the entire world.
Seriously. And a very fucked up mouth.
And like your bottom teeth are British. Like you may be American, but your teeth come from England.
But your teeth ain't. All right, well, that
But
was
your
the Sisters
teeth
Grimm
ain't.
podcast, y'all.
Yeah, like everyone.
Hit us up on like Facebook, because that's literally the only place that we post.
And
then our own personal pages. Holly is Holly Cheeseburger on Instagram, and I am Morgan D. Freeberg. And I accidentally just put my hand on yours, and now we're holding hands.
I was just gonna say,
and it's awkward.
And now Morgan and I are holding hands.
Accidentally.
Liar. Okay.
You're a liar. All right, thanks, guys. Also, if you're not from Jersey, you can get the fuck out of my face.